tip of the spear for this work is the Internet Crimes Against Children task forces, and there's 61 of them across the country, and they're made up of state and local detectives, investigators, HSI and FBI participate in all of them, and they are the backlog of cyber tips that they get from NCMEC is in the thousands. Each one of those backlogs that doesn't get addressed is a potential victim and a potential predator. And they're just doing so imagine doing the hardest job that law enforcement will ever do, having to describe these horrific images of CSAM, child sex abuse material, and know that there's a backlog of this stuff that you just can't get to because you're under-resourced and there's just not enough people doing it. It's we have a cool program. We deploy electronic storage detection canines to the ICAC investigators. So these are specially trained dogs that can find the electronic storage devices, SIM cards, flash drives that predators store CSAM and then hide it so that law enforcement can't find them when they come and execute a search warrant. And these dogs alert to the chemical coating on an electronic storage device that prevents them from overheating when they're working. And this is what predators, this is their currency. This is the thing that they keep and they trade and they do it on the dark web. It's global. And these are the things that we have to find as investigators to get a prosecution, and to make an arrest and get a prosecution. So these dogs, they're amazing. 80% of the time they're deployed on these search warrants, they find devices and storage devices that the law enforcement officers didn't find. They hide them in ceiling tiles, they hide them in electrical outlets, soda cans, coin jars. I've been on hundreds of search warrants, and I tell you, we're not very good at finding, those devices. So,
Oh man, I mean, it's hard when you talk about the scope and you talk about these numbers. These are the people that are being moved and exploited, but that means that there is an end user as well. There's the facilitator, like a cartel or the network that moves said product, in this case, humans. But then there's an end user as well. And
yeah,
so
the
when you think
buyers.
about that, that is that there's that many sick people in the world that just shouldn't be in the world. That is hard to
Yeah.
fathom. That number is insane. Just how many people essentially, I mean, maybe we cancel for saying this or not, but need to be erased that are doing that sort of thing to other human beings, specifically children and women. I mean, that part is tough to
Yeah.
fathom.
Especially when you think about the estimate of $150 billion in illicit proceeds. How many victims and survivors does that represent across the globe? It's staggering. Um, and the cartels to a large degree are 100% involved in the activity of forced labor as well and sex trafficking, and they're facilitating the pathway in and out of countries. But yeah, you're right, there's the the buyer end of the equation is pretty disgusting.
Oh man, it's so hard to even think about. And how much of that is not being moved across borders, but being exploited within our borders? You talked a little bit about the horrible opportunity that being online for kids offers predators and all the rest of it. What is that? What's the difference there between how many people are being moved, let's say from Mexico or Colombia or wherever it might be, into the United States specifically, versus how many people are being exploited online or groomed online or kidnapped or whatever that is? What does that look like? What's that disparity?
So it looks exponentially increasing of predators and traffickers utilizing the technology, online gaming systems, apps, and the statutory definition of sex trafficking is the use of force, fraud, and coercion, right? Force is the kind of the mental picture of like people being held captive and in handcuffs, and it's more fraud and coercion at this point, and grooming. Grooming is the starting a relationship. And now, like, you don't need to be in the same town or the same state or even the same country. So this is even more compelling for law enforcement because now the problem is exponentially worse because of the use of these platforms for predators to be able to attempt to groom and reach minors at scale. Um, and it's I would say the predators and sex traffickers are leveraging technology at equal to or greater than law enforcement can keep up, without even talking about the dark web and encryption and all the other challenges that law enforcement has to play by the rules, and they don't. So, we call it the digital white van at our rescue. So if you think about when we grew up, and all of our parents taught us to not get into a van with a stranger or a car with a stranger. That was like the one thing I knew. I didn't know anything else, but I knew that. And now, if you think about a child unsupervised with a device like an iPad or a phone alone for 5 or 6 hours, how many digital white vans are hitting them up across these different platforms? How much opportunity is there for them to click the wrong button, start the wrong conversation? It's scary.
If you enjoyed this video, you'll probably like the Fourth Option podcast. Check it out here.